Hello everyone. I'd like to invite you to a series of classes that I plan on hosting between the middle of July clear through the end of August, focusing on Kriya Yoga for beginners. So I know sometimes it's hard to find instruction on these practices, but over the years I've been able to reach many students through the internet and online platforms. And we even have the 2-year Kriya Yoga apprenticeship course, which, as you know, is specifically for individuals who already know how to practice meditation, know that this is their path. It's a little more detailed instruction on the philosophy and lifestyle of Kriya Yoga. But for those of you who have read Autobiography of a Yogi or have read other texts on Kriya Yoga and have an inspiration to learn these methods, learn the philosophy, and to practice Kriya Yoga, we're going to be doing the 6-week class. And the setup of the class is going to be fairly simple. There will be one pre-recorded class each week, and you'll be able to log in and view that class anytime you want for the duration of the class. And then at the end of each week, we'll have a live online question and answer session and meditation class where we can discuss what was brought up in the week's class and clarify anything that you need to know so that you can practice better. The classes right now are scheduled to be about 6 weeks in length. I imagine we can get through the material in that time. If we need a little bit longer, we may go a little bit longer. And all of these classes are on a donation basis. So if you ever have issues with finances or you don't think you can afford this, well, as long as you have an internet connection, you're welcome to attend. And as I mentioned, it will be on a donation basis for those who are able to donate. The 6 weeks are broken down into sections such that you develop an understanding of Kriya Yoga from the ground up. In week 1, we start with how to meditate, how to set up an effective meditation practice, and all the things that go into that. That way you can begin practicing immediately. You can already begin engaging the process, even though you don't know all the specifics just yet. In week 2, we'll explore the history of Kriya Yoga in the modern era. We'll consider how Kriya Yoga came about, the rebirth of Kriya Yoga, and we'll also go through the spiritual lineage. So to get some insights about the teachers within this tradition, beginning with Mahavatar Babaji, to Lahiri Mahasaya, Sri Yukteswar, Paramahansa Yogananda, Roy Eugene Davis, and their successors. In week 3, we're going to talk about what it means to live the life of a Kriya Yogi. What does it mean to be a dedicated Kriya Yogi? What is important in life for a yogi? And what are the foundations for a life of one who's interested in practicing yoga? Because often those things are a little bit different than the mainstream. So we'll consider those. In week 4, we'll explore preparatory techniques. Individuals in the Kriya Yoga apprenticeship program, which begins January of every year, they're required to have taken the 11-hour downloadable Kriya Yoga training course or to have watched the playlists at youtube.com/Kriya Yoga online where it goes through the techniques. That way they already know how it's done. Or individuals in that course have already learned them from a teacher or are already practicing. But before really engaging those more advanced Kriya Yoga techniques, there are certain pranayamas, certain ways of practicing which prepare you for the process. So that way, if you ever do decide that you're interested in the Kriya Yoga apprenticeship program, you already have these techniques under your belt and you will already be ready to begin, should you choose. In week 4, we'll also consider the power and purpose of initiation, spiritual initiation. What does that mean? Who needs it? What is it about? What does it do for you? Week 5, we will discuss what does it mean to become a disciple or a learner. Disciple simply means student. And in mystical traditions and yoga traditions, there's often a teacher-student relationship where the student learns from the teacher, the student grows up in his or her own wisdom or knowledge, and then they end up sharing that if that's part of their dharma, part of their purpose. So what does it mean to become a disciple or a learner in this kind of process? And then what does it mean to live in harmony with your spiritual purpose? And this is something that we try to clear up from the very beginning, because many people are searching for the purpose of their life, and it's very clearly spelled out in quite a few spiritual traditions. And we're going to discuss it related to the Kriya Yoga lineage. And finally, week 6, we will dive into the purpose of spiritual study. So as Kriya Yogis, it is important to meditate every day, to follow the practices that we learned. It is important to live a life that has a good moral compass. In yoga, we would look at the yamas and niyamas, or the restraints and the observances. Be a good person, don't steal, don't be attached, be content, practice truthfulness, these sorts of things. But we meditate, we live a good life, but it's also important to understand how to study something spiritually. And within the Kriya Yoga Apprenticeship Program in year 1, we explore the Bhagavad Gita as a spiritual text. And then in year 2, we look at the Yoga Sutras of Patanjali. So it's very important to understand how to study and read spiritual literature and how to contemplate spiritual topics such that it helps to enlighten you and clarify your spiritual awareness rather than confuse you. Because too many people, when they become involved in spirituality, they don't really know how to study, and they end up becoming more confused. So the final week, we will discuss the best way to study to support you as you move forward in the practice of Kriya Yoga. So again, if this is of interest to you, I'll put a link at the bottom of this video, how to contact me so that I can reserve your space. We're going to open it to about 30 people. That's a good number to be able to interact in some of the calls that we have, and also it makes it easier for me to handle correspondence via email and so on. It'll be open to 30 people. It'll be more than likely 6 weeks in length, and it will begin mid-July and run through the end of August. Each week you will be sent or you will have access to that week's class, which you can study on your own, log in and watch that video on your own, practice what you learn. And then at the end of each week on Sundays, which I guess technically Sunday is the beginning of a week, but on Sundays, we will have an online discussion, Q&A, and meditation session, which will be scheduled for 6 p.m. Eastern time. So look at the Eastern time zone, 6 p.m. Now again, I realize that many people live all over the world and in many time zones, and this is one of the reasons why the classes themselves are going to be uploaded, pre-recorded, so that you can view them whenever you want. If you can't attend the online Q&A and meditation sessions, don't let that deter you. You're welcome to submit your questions to me via email, and I can speak to them on the call when it goes live, because I am able to then post the Q&A sessions for review for later. So 6 p.m. Eastern time on Sundays, that's when we'll have our online meetings where you can log in through Zoom and participate. And again, the goal is to give you an understanding of how to begin practicing Kriya Yoga, how to begin to commit to the process, and how to do it skillfully and well, such that as the months and years go by, you grow in your own wisdom, you grow in your own contentment, and you're able to benefit from the sacred science. Okay, well, I look forward to hearing from you, and we'll see you mid-July.